Hello everyone of Vampire Amino. I welcome you to Meowcula's second edition of Internet Safety Rules. Today, we will be talking about safety with vampirism on the internet. Now, before I dive in, please, I just wish to point out that I do not mean any offense to any of you who identify as a vampire or dream of becoming a vampire in the lifestyle state. Now, second point. This video does technically apply to role players that do not leave character, so do please pay attention. Now, what I will pull up before you is a list of the points that I will go over. Here are the major points. What is vampirism? Real vampires versus fiction. Difference between the vampiric lifestyle and role-playing and cosplaying. Safety precautions. Do's and don'ts. And then a bonus interview with a vampire, Amino edition. Now, first thing. What is vampirism? Well, I have pulled up the definition for you guys to see. The vampire lifestyle or vampire subculture is an alternative lifestyle. Active vampirism within the vampire subculture includes both sanguinary vampirism, which involves blood consumption, and psychic vampirism, whose practitioners believe they are drawing spiritual nourishment from auric or pranic energy. This is the Google definition of vampirism. Now, I know a lot of you believe that there is more to this, but I am not going to dive into that today. So, just the basic definition for now. Now, next point. Real versus fiction. A lot of you out there dream of becoming, meeting, or just simply encountering a vampire in the real world. And I want to point out that, in my opinion, yes, they are real, but only to a certain extent. Now, what I mean by this is the vampires that you see in Twilight, and I guess they show up in Harry Potter, and all of the other fictional books, those are meant for entertainment. Their supernatural abilities, their abilities to, say, teleport, run at the speed of light, turn into a bat, and more or less their non-human qualities don't exist. Now, a real vampire is one who practices vampirism. And like I showed with the definition, they believe that they gain energy and sustenance from an external source that is besides the natural foods that humans eat. So this means that, take a psychic vampire for example. They draw on the energy of others to sustain themselves. That's basically all a vampire is. They are not the undead. They are not walking corpses. They are not fanged beings that are drop-dead gorgeous that lure you in to a dead alley and rip your throat out. No, that's not, in my opinion, and to what I have observed, that's not what vampires do in the real world. Okay, next point. Differences between vampiric lifestyle and role-playing and cosplaying. Now, for you, I have pulled up the definitions of role-playing and cosplaying. Roleplay. To act out or perform the part of a person or character, for example, as a technique in training or psychotherapy, or to participate in a role-playing game. Now, this means exactly what it is. It is pretend. Make-believe. You are pardon me, you are representing a character. You are not that character. People that live the vampiric lifestyle are not role-playing. They are not pretending to be a vampire, because they believe they are vampires. They believe that they need another source of energy. That is what the difference between vampirism and roleplay is. Now, the difference between vampirism and cosplay. Cosplay is the practice of dressing up as a character from a movie, book, or video game, especially one from the Japanese genres of manga and anime. Now, like roleplay, you are pretending to be a character, but physically. You are dressing up as whatever you want to be and taking on the persona of that character. But you are not that character. There is no way for you to be that character. Now, next point. Safety precautions. Now, there are some people who claim to be a vampire. I'm not saying everyone does this, but there are some who will claim to be a vampire in order to take advantage of people. Whether it be to lure you in and hurt you, or whether it be to scam you out of something, or even just for fun. That is what they do. And here are some precautions that you can take to avoid being a victim of the people that do this. Now, the biggest point I have to make is do your research. I understand a lot of you don't like reading, and a lot of you do not like doing work. But to keep yourself safe, you must do your research. Look up anything and everything that you can about vampirism. Now, vampirism is a big subject that is mixed with fact and fiction. Also with a lot of opinion. Someone's opinion may differ from mine. Someone else's opinion might differ from theirs. That is just how it is. It will never be a pure fact subcommunity. That's just how it is. And all you can really do is prepare yourself with research. Now, the next thing you can do after you've done your research, ask questions. If someone approaches you claiming they are a vampire, you get all excited and start asking questions, like, not personal, but like, how did you become a vampire? Or, what type of vampire are you? Or, maybe, how old are you? Even as simple as that. Because those that are real vampires do not claim to be older than they actually are. Those that are pretending, role-playing, or another synonym that I cannot think of, I'm sorry, will claim to be over 100, over 500, or over 1,000 years old. And that is something that you need to be wary of, because then, if they claim they are a real vampire, and then say, oh, yeah, it's fine, I'm physically, 23, but my mental age is far older, because I had a past life where I was a vampire in the Victorian era. Yeah, no, just please try not to believe that. Please. I mean, I've had my experience, so I know what sounds like garbage. But those of you that are watching this today, I can reckon that a lot of you don't know what to look for when it comes to red flags. And I will go over those. But on to the next point. Never give your information. I went over this in my last video. To never give your information to anyone. This, as I said before, includes your name, your location, your gender. I guess you can give that out. I mean, that doesn't really matter, but it's up to you. And a image of your real self without a filter or makeup. Because a lot of people can take advantage of you. So you really need to be careful with what information you hand out freely. And then finally, always confirm the difference between roleplay and in real life. Always ask, are you roleplaying? Are you trying to roleplay with me? Or are you truly claiming to be a vampire? Always ask. It always helps to ask. And ask. That's all you can really do. Now, do's and don'ts. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to start with the don'ts, since they're a lot easier to identify. Don't go out and ask if you can be turned. A lot of people who live the vampiric lifestyle find it rude that a complete stranger on the internet that they do not know asks them to turn them. It is not very etiquetely, I guess that would be a good term. Because, like, okay, say you are the one who is living a vampiric lifestyle, and a complete stranger that you don't know their age, you don't know their name, you don't know where they're from, you don't know anything about them. They're just a profile on a screen. If they were to contact you and ask you to please bite me, I want to be a vampire now, how would you react? Think about that for a moment. Another don't. Do not confuse roleplay with reality. There is a huge line between roleplay and reality. I will go into the deeper concepts of this later, but for now, we're just sticking to vampirism. Usually, of what I've observed, 99% of the time, those who claim to be a vampire in the vampiric lifestyle do not roleplay. You must be able to discern this. And finally, another don't. Do not... How am I going to word this? Do not... I'm sorry, I completely pulled a blank on that. Sorry. Okay, so, finally, the do's. If you are curious about the vampiric lifestyle, and you want to find out more, ask. You can ask questions, but be nice about it. Don't go assuming, hey, are you allergic to silver? Or, hey, can you really burn up in sunlight? Or, hey, can you do this? Or, hey, can you not do that? Or, hey, are you really allergic to this? It's really rude. Don't do it. fictional vampires that are found in books do not exist. They do not exist. They are meant for entertainment purposes only. They do not exist. They might have in the past, but with as many weaknesses as we imagine them to have, I highly doubt they would have lived very long. Now, finally, I have a special treat for you guys. I managed to get in contact with a psychic vampire from Vampire Amino, and these are the questions and answers that I managed to ask. So, here we go. Thank you, Sai, for answering these questions. Okay, question 1. When it comes to people not knowing anything about the vampiric lifestyle, what assumptions annoy you the most? She answered, the typical asking to be turned one. I don't enjoy being rudely challenged when my behavior is not consistent with their expectations. Like when I say I like wearing silver or when I go out during the daylight. Often that results in accusations of being a phony. Question 2. Judging by your previous answer, does this mean humans can't be turned or be reborn as a vampire? Her answer, the path of the vampire is found through spiritual discovery. It is realized by those that are searching for meaning beyond the aesthetic surface. The way of the vampire is a mental and emotional practice that is used to manipulate the physical world in our favor. And question 3. How does one that practices vampirism get a safe donor? I'm not a sanguine feeder, but there are organizations that take safety seriously. Anything that involves bodily fluids should be handled with care. Now, expressing onto this final question, it is not safe to be bitten. Not only can the biter get hurt, but the donor can also get diseases. Both sides can get diseases. Like, for example, the donor I've only heard this, but the donor can maybe get blood disease from biting into a donor that has not been checked. So, as proof, the safest way to give blood, to those that practice vampirism is to use needles and to never reuse them, or even to go to a blood bank. Those are the best two options. You do not get bitten by a vampire. You do not get turned into a vampire. You are simply are, or you're not, or you believe that you are one. Now, a final check over my points. What is vampirism? It is the practice of... Let me just get the description here. The vampiric lifestyle or vampire subculture is an alternative lifestyle. Consists of blood or psychic drawing nourishment from donors, from willing donors. Real versus fiction. Books and movies and Hollywood vampires don't exist. Real vampires are like us, except they need something a little more on the side. The difference between vampire lifestyle and role-playing and cosplaying. Role-playing and cosplaying are pretending. Vampiric lifestyle, you are literally what you are. You are not pretending. Safety precautions. Ask questions, do your research, never give your information, and always confirm the difference. Do's and don'ts. Do ask questions. Don't ask to be turned. And that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Also, in case you're curious, the background that I'm using today is Asagi dressed in his 7th Rose outfit from the band called D. I really hope this has been informative, and I hope to see you next time. Hello everyone, and welcome to Hello everyone of Vampire Amino, and welcome to Meowcula's safety rules. Crap. Hello everyone of Vampire Amino, and welcome to Meowcula's safety rules. Crap.